Live from Schellenberger Field in historic Lynchburg, Virginia. It's game number 1 on the year for the Lynchburg Hornets, playing host to the Covenant Scots, who entered today's matchup at 0-1. Going to be a fun one on hand. TJ Wingert alongside women's soccer assistant coach Matt Newton for today's contest. Coach, appreciate you taking the time and joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to this one. And starting things off, first game of the year, first look at this Lynchburg team that reigning ODAC champs. Other side of the pitch, Covenant College coming off first place finish in the USA South. Doesn't get much more welterweight than this.
No, and it's exciting. You know, you want to take that momentum if you're Lynchburg and roll it right into this game. If you're Covenant, you're looking to rebound from what you just had.
And that tie for Covenant, 0-0 final score, going the full 110 minutes against Emory, and a chance to bounce back. And you have to feel confident when you have someone like head coach Scott Bosgraf leading the way, his 5th season as a head coach, 13th overall with the Scots, someone who's been a coach of the year in 2019 with the USA South. Really strong leadership to lead this program.
Yeah, and he's done well, so he knows what to do, right? So you've game planned for this game. You've traveled, all this kind of stuff. You've gotten set up, and now it's just let's see what your team can do.
And on the other bench, 19th-year head coach Chris Yeager, also been a coach of the year inside the ODAC. This team won the conference last year, and the expectations for Coach Yeager, get right back to it again this year.
Yeah, absolutely. You return a lot of guys, and so you're hopeful to continue, like I said, to start out, build on this momentum and see what they can do in their first match.
And a lot of returners for both these teams. That's something we'll talk about a lot throughout this broadcast. We'll go ahead and show you the starting lineups as we're getting closer and closer to first touch. We'll also highlight a few players throughout this broadcast as we go along. But talking about the seniority, and really, I don't know what you want to call it, a lot of 5th years back for both sides. Obviously, players gaining an extra year of eligibility due to COVID-19. Now you have a situation where rosters are loaded for a lot of sports here at Lynchburg. You're having to balance playing your 5th years with also a new and exciting recruiting class.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that experience is just invaluable. So to get that time back is just huge. And so going into conference and things like that, the physicality of the games, you can't replicate that. So it's great to be able to bring guys back like that.
And we're underway from Schellenberger Field, first broadcast of the year on LHSN. Thank you all for tuning in this Friday evening. Good way to start the weekend, if you ask me.
Yeah, beautiful day.
And we'll take this opportunity to go ahead and highlight a few players, both juniors, for Covenant. Mercer Stout, highest returning goal scorer, 5 scores a season ago, an assist. Team best 42 shots as well. You'll see him at the top of the formation for the Scots. And for Lynchburg, it's number 7, Luke Mega, junior from Glen Allen, Virginia, 9 goals a season ago. You want to talk about returning playmakers. I mean, doesn't get any more, big part of the mix than Luke Mega.
No, and for both of those guys, like for each teams, you have to make sure where that player is all the time. You can't lose them at any time because you know that they're a threat when they have the ball.
Middle of the field, that's Nick Foley, one of those 5th-year players coming back for the Hornets. You're going to see a 4-3-3 formation for Lynchburg. Coach Yeager has been pretty open about it's a 4-3-3 in concept, but he has so many players he can move across the pitch. You can play him higher, play him lower. So don't get too attached to the idea of a 4-3-3.
No, and it allows for just that fluidity of the game. So as players are checking into the middle of the field, you see players getting higher already and making those runs out of the middle. They're dangerous. They're hard to track. So when you have runs, people moving in and out like that, defenders really have to pay attention or they'll slip right in behind.
Left back Joey Daly penetrates into the attacking third. Kicks it over to Mega, who we highlighted. Slips past the defender, works it back, center of the box, off the chest, and ricocheting just wide. Our first scoring chance bears no points for Lynchburg, but a fruitful run nonetheless.
Yeah, and he must have just gotten past that defender right as the ball is played, so they called him off.
So no official shot on the play. And sending it out is the keeper for Covenant, Henry Hooks, a senior from Lookout Mountain. Coming off a 9-save showing against Emory. Faced a total of 21 shots. Again, that game goes 0-0 final score. Foley reverses Fields. Seth Dale on the right back spot. Carter Averett had it, but for a moment, center field, and talking to Coach Yeager as Averett sends it towards the 18. He plays a position, Averett, that has got to be the most frustrating for any soccer player because you're not going to rack up goals or assists. And if you're just looking at box scores, he's just a guy who plays the full 90, which is deserving of a ton of credit. But that center mid spot does so much to control the pace throughout the entire game.
Yeah, I mean, they make everything happen. So the possession runs through them all the time. And so, you may not get the accolades that you're talking about. However, you've touched the ball in that series, And so it's just it can be tough, if you're looking for that. Hopefully, you just do your job and be happy for your team sometimes.
And the reason to mention that is they're essentially a floor general, and you look at that in other sports. Talking about football, the quarterback always gets the attention. And then for basketball, the point guard is the position everybody grows up wanting to play when you have the ball in your hands.
Yep.
And then you go to soccer, and the same thing similar with lacrosse and field hockey. That ball handling, field general type of role is one that's often overlooked.
Yeah. I mean the forwards, they get the points, so they get all the cool cars and all that kind of stuff, right? But it's the center mids that are like, hey, I passed you the ball, So.
We got a petition for hockey assists to make their way towards soccer. I think you'll start to see a lot more limelight shown for center mids under that occurrence. Ball worked all the way back to Hooks. Just about 5 minutes into this contest. Early on, time of possession heavily in the favor of the Hornets. Kenny Robles plays it back to Averett. Robles coming off a year with a team best 5 assists. Junior from Woodbridge, Virginia. Now along the near side, here's Daly once again. Pass forward, goes out of play. Scots take over. I think another interesting storyline coming out of this matchup. Both these teams won their conference last year, and that's interesting in itself considering these two teams are playing in the spring, not something you're accustomed to.
Right.
But then they're both picked to finish second in their conference this year. So they both have to be coming into this one with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, I would. It's like, hey, why when you're returning so many and all of that kind of stuff, what do you think changed, And so, honestly, I look at it as a good thing, right? Hey, thanks for doing that,
No shortage of motivation.
Yeah. As a coach, you look at it that way,
Near side, here's Mega. Has it poked away. That was Parker Owen. Now parlayed backwards. Laid off, that's Parker Rohde. The Scots now just looking for any sort of possession to last. Trying to give their defense a bit of a breather as well. Headed forward in the direction of Jake Major. Now on the foot of our player to watch, Mercer Stout. These two teams vying for possession across the midfield. I'll go ahead and ask it early. Coach, Lynchburg women's soccer in action tomorrow. 11:30 first touch. Gotta know, how are we feeling before game number 1 of y'all season?
Yeah, we're super excited to get back out there. So we've had a good, couple scrimmages. We've really enjoyed training throughout the week and just the effort that the girls are putting into it. And so we're ready just to, hey, let's see all this hard work pay off.
And obviously someone who's new to the University of Lynchburg myself, Alex Allen is someone I'm super excited to watch. There was someone similar to her play style from what I've gathered from film named Cindy Wallace. And Sydney was just fantastic center back for Longwood, my alma mater, and kind of get similar vibes there from Alex Allen.
Yeah, she'll be fun. We might move her up the field a little bit, so you might see her,
there we go,
playing a little bit of a different role. Won't show her hand right away, but it's super fun player.
Everett marked up by Stout. Works past a couple of Covenant defenders. Passes forward for Mega. And Lynchburg has both controlled the time of possession but also been very patient. Been able to work it around the box a few times, including one run that resulted in an offside. But overall, Lynchburg in the driver's seat early. Shot from outside the box. Gobbled up by Hooks. First shot on goal comes from Brennan Lagana, sophomore from North Carolina.
Yeah, and so far you've seen Covenant, Lynchburg's been able to move the ball pretty well, but as it gets to that final third, Covenant's done a good job of compressing that space and not giving a lot of those, easy shots up. And, they really had to work for that shot outside the box.
Mega with some contact coming from Will Kennis.
That's certainly a matchup you're looking for, that isolation, that 1v1 with him. If he gets away from that, good luck.
Daily first team all ODAC sends it across. Now middle of the field. Bailey Kearns in the direction of Shalita, now at the foot of Lagana, who just had that shot on goal. Plenty of contact, no foul.
Yeah, and that looked like a bit of a pull to me, but.
Parker Owen versus Manzi Shalita, Parker Rohde. And Rohde wins the battle, forces the turnover. As Hooks sends it away, we're treated to a couple of great keepers. Both sides, Hooks and Kyle Gallagher for Lynchburg, first team all-conference a season ago. So while there's a bunch of playmakers we've highlighted and talked about, they know how to put it in the back of the net. It's no easy task against the likes of Hooks and Gallagher.
No, and that's another player that sometimes just doesn't get the accolades, right? As far as being talked about all the time, being at several games last season, Kyle made some just unbelievable saves highlight reel saves. So ideally you don't want your goalie to have to do much. But when they do, you want them to have stuff like that.
75% save percentage, 32 saves. This shot headed up and over the post. Appeared to be Robles being very active once again.
Good opportunity there. He was almost free.
3 shots for Lynchburg, none so far for Covenant. And if you could describe the early showing so far, that's the sentence to do just that.
Yep.
And some of it in soccer, you're taught to embrace the struggle. To some people, 1-0 is boring. To some, 1-0 is fantastic and must watch. But it's one of those games where you're looking for a lot of quantity as well as quantity. Well, and so far, a little bit of both for Lynchburg.
Yeah, and it just depends on your strategy. Right now, Covenant's putting 9 guys behind the ball. And so, you're seeing a lot more possession out of Lynchburg to try to break that down. At the same time, Covenant will probably look for opportunities, quick strike opportunities to score, and then you get one of those 1-0 games because they just sit in after that, So we'll see kind of as things transpire. You're 12 minutes in or so. Should settle in soon.
Well, let me ask you, when you see another side packing it in, 9 players around the box, and they're hoping for that one outlet back in the other direction, how frustrating is that to play against?
Oh, it's super annoying. It's so annoying because, that is boring. So,
sure.
You're keeping the ball, you're moving around, and that at the same time, you have to be smart because they're playing for your error, essentially. They may not generate a ton, but they're playing for you to make a mistake, and then they generate that goal. And so not only do you have to be patient, you have to be, consistent on the ball.
I've had coaches describe soccer as maybe the most impossible sport to be better than your opponent for the entire 90 minutes or 110 if you go into extra time. And it feels like when you play that war of attrition style, you're content with being neutral 85 of those minutes, but then your 5 minutes where you take advantage of the other team's error, that's when you get that 1-0 final.
Yeah, and you're happy with the ball just going backwards.
Sure.
So if they're possessing and the ball's just going backwards and side to side, then you're okay with that. It's a win-win for both.
And here Covenant brings the front line up a little bit, applying some pressure. Staley on the near side. Sends it back center for Nick Foley. Second team all ODAC a year ago. Which even that sentence is weird to say because it was really just half a year ago.
I know. It is so strange.
And, of course, COVID is something that everyone is still trying to battle with in our lives. Yep. And Coach Chris Yeager, when I talked to him yesterday, I had to ask him, when you played last spring, in your mind you're thinking, but in September, everything's going to be back to normal.
Yeah.
And now you have students wearing masks in classroom, whether they're vaccinated or not.
Yep.
You have to move around schedules. There's been teams who have had to cancel, reschedule, forfeit games due to COVID. And you're right back where you were a year ago. And simply put, he just said, we want to play.
Yeah.
We're going to do whatever we can just to get out onto the pitch.
Yeah, and you just, you're one game at a time. You
Sure.
know, and and in some ways you should be that way anyways as a team, right? Just stay one game at a time and go from there. I mean, we're back to halfway normal.
Sure.
And then hopefully as things progress we can get all the way there,
They also haven't had any favors from some of the weather we've had here in Lynchburg.
No.
They've had to move some practices around due to the heat index being too high, and then you get those summer storms that come through, and there's just nothing you can do about it. So instead of practicing at 4, say you're practicing at 8 that night.
Yep.
Got to be flexible, at least in the early goings.
Yeah, it has been so warm. That's why a day like this is just welcome, and it's just a beautiful day to play.
Currently in the mid-80s, sun is out, blue skies. Clouds few and far between. Mega sends it center of the box. Sent out for a moment. At the feet of Kearns. Brings it back to the near side. Mega has Daly flanking to his left. Cross looking for Shalita. Headed away. Now Robles sends it back to Dale. Little give and go. Has it roll all the way back to the back line, and Lynchburg will reset. Averett finds Daly. Plenty of green in front of him. Shalita with a 270 type of shot instead of 360. Want a full spin, but
Yeah.
3/4 the way there, but easy stop for Hooks to make.
Yeah, tough one to put away. You got that first touch has to be just right to set up, and then coming around, you got to hit the ball clean.
Last year, Shalita, as a freshman, third team all ODAC. 2 goals, 2 assists, 15 shots. Pass a little wayward, but Daly able to track it down. Shalita now back to Foley. 15 minutes into the first half. The point of attack for Lynchburg has heavily been across this near side. Pass forward cleared out.
Yeah, it does seem to be kind of our side this whole time, which, puts the ball on your best player's feet a lot of the time.
And early on, seen a lot of Bailey Kearns, a lot of Luke Mega, as well as Joey Daly as that left back. I think Daly kind of encapsulates what we talked about earlier with Coach Yeager feeling comfortable moving players around. While on paper, Daly is a back, you would associate him with that back line, but you'll see him in the midfield. You'll see him all the way up in the attack as this ball nearly makes it all the way through, but sliding ahead, Hooks gets to it first.
Yeah, and that was a great run out of the back. They just kept combining. He kept his run going, and he's able to break that back line, stay on sides, and if he gets a touch on that, it's an easy cross to a goal or a goal by himself.
And that was Seth Dale, the right back, on cue as we're talking about how forward you'll see these backs play. Dale, nearly one-on-one chance with Hooks.
And that's the key to this. When a team is they're kind of low pressing. There's one kind of high press out of one player, but overall as a team, they're playing sort of a mid-block, low block. You got to keep the ball moving. You've got to keep moving.
Lagana Sends it, center of the box, headed down by Robles. Cleared away for a moment, chipped up, and into the arms of the waiting Hooks.
So sometimes you make a run, and it may not get to you, and you can't stop. You got to keep cycling that run around, so you keep moving people around, keep moving the ball around, and eventually your pocket will open up, slip the ball in, and get one.
5 shots for Lynchburg, none so far for Covenant. Mercer Stout, our player to watch. Passes over, Keegan Weekly. Has Daly in front of him. Now back to Stout from outside the 18, ricocheting off the post. A rebound opportunity for a second. Ball still live, Shalita to it, and clears it back to midfield. And just like that, in the snap of a finger, the best scoring chance we've seen today marks the first shot that Covenant's had all afternoon.
Yeah, and again, it's, you can't let their top player or anybody's top player just have a free opening. You see right away, he puts that ball right on frame, and he didn't need very long to do it.
Mercer Stout, as mentioned at the top of the broadcast, 5 goals and an assist on 42 shots last year. And the rebound chance landed at the feet of Cale McLarnon, but ultimately couldn't get the ball down and come away with the second look. And Gallagher was awarded a save.
Did he touch him, you think? I thought it hit the post. Maybe he parried.
Ultimately, our decision doesn't matter. It comes down to Tim LaDuca running the stats.
So maybe he touched it.
And we're at home, so
yeah,
may get some favorable stat padding of sorts.
Well, I did think he he had a good angle. He had it covered,
sure.
So I thought he was at the right level to make the save. But it came off so fast, I thought it was a post play.
And Hooks on the other end with 3 so far. Foley pops it up for Dale. Headed in play. Mercer Stout is alongside Jake Major. These 2 forwards applying plenty of pressure. Weekly, near side, this is Rhodey. Mega behind him. Slows down the attack. Major reverses. Pass picked off. Robles Lagana 1 and 2. Now Lagana with a 1 and 2 to Mega.
Might be seeing a little bit of a momentum shift. First 20 minutes is all Lynchburg.
Now we're starting to see Covenant mount some consistent runs, maintaining some possession. Daly with a good tackle there. Deflected off the body of Parker Owen. It'll be a throw in for Lynchburg. These 2 teams did not see one another last year. But again, 2 of the best teams inside their respective conferences. Covenant coming from USA South. Lynchburg hailing, of course, from the ODAC. It's also encouraging when you look out onto the field. It's a 4 o'clock start time, so a lot of people here at Lynchburg very proud that when games are played at 7, this place gets packed.
Yes,
but you can already see it on the far side. 4 o'clock, first touch. There's already some crowds starting to gather.
Yeah, and I just think there's nothing like these balconies, anywhere else where students can come out and watch. And sometimes I wish I could be up there, seeing the game. I mean, they have the best view, so you can see how the ebbs and flow of the game a lot better. And it's just a great atmosphere here.
You can see it on our main feed, Westover Hall, across the pitch. Some students out onto the balconies. And like you said, you have the shade, you have the chairs.
Everything about it. You got a huge video board to look at. I mean, doesn't get any better than that.
Foley passes forward. Picked off just past midfield. That's Aaron Riggs. Riggs, just like Averett, very active in the midfield. Not a very glamorous job, but a very important one at that. Covenant called offside, ending that run.
Yeah, that was about to get pretty dangerous. I mean, he was in behind, so he took a few steps to sneak in behind.
As you
Caught him
mentioned,
off.
as you mentioned, Coach Newton, you're starting to see the shift in momentum, the
Yeah.
tides turn a little bit. Now it feels like the Lynchburg defense is looking for that breather, a few moments to catch their breath, and Covenant's been able to, not necessarily as long as Lynchburg's runs, but they've had some chances and they're starting to piece together.
Yeah, and they've really taken kind of a defensive posture. Covenant, I mean, they were 5 across the back at certain points, and so now they're starting to release some guys into the attack.
Shalita forward for Mega, now back to Shalita. Set near side, here's Daly. Shalita tries to sneak it through. Dangerous ball cleared out.
Thought we were going to be able to catch that one.
That's why we have you up here.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I'm more feet than.
Sure, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Shalita long strides, creates some separation forward for Mega. Marked up by Kennis. That's the matchup, and it continues to be a good one. Kennis with the stop. Sends it towards midfield. Stout looking for Major ahead. Foley there to break that pass up.
Yeah, and you see the strategy there, right? So Lynchburg gets in, they win it really quick, and it's a direct ball forward. It's trying to catch that counter really fast. So they bring a lot of guys back and then hit it forward.
And it just takes that one through ball.
Yep.
Sneak its way.
Yep.
And create a chance for someone like Mega who, if he's got a good look, it's few and far between that he doesn't convert.
Yeah, and they're doubling him. When he gets over there, they double.
But to that point, Kennis has done a good job one-on-one when he's been left on an island.
Yeah.
Lots of contact. Looks like a referee is going to come on and
Give a foul.
Yeah, give a foul. Might have a free kick from just beyond the box.
Or is he doing a throw? It's hard to tell. What's he?
And it looks like it will be a throw.
Looked like a foul from our vantage point, but
Game one for us, too. We got to
Yeah.
get reacquainted with officials.
yeah.
Throw in the direction of Kearns. Looks like it was headed away by a Covenant player, so good job from Hooks not letting it go across the end line.
Yeah. Try not to let up a corner.
We have yet to see a corner so far today.
It's true. It's sort of unusual.
Just about 19 minutes left in the first half. Especially early on, with Lynchburg dominating possession. It felt like you could look back at this game and almost be shocked, just as you were. No corner?
Yeah. Typically your crosses, they generate a few, right? So they've had several, obviously, and
Sure.
getting in behind, getting crosses off.
So it's still one more wrinkle to see. That's always an interesting play there for coach to try to figure out who's going to the corner, who are we drawing plays up.
Yeah. That's the fun part.
That's the fun part.
Yeah.
And as a coach, that's really where your game planning and what you can do really is most seen, as opposed to managing the group, making sure everybody's in the right spots, making adjustments. The corners, you're drawing up plays, and it's direct correlation.
Yeah, you're hoping that they are
Sure.
paying attention. We posted a few videos of when we're doing corners, our post players doing some dancing. I don't know if you saw it, but
Averett to Shalita now with Dale.
yeah,
Popped up by Owen. Kearns heads it over This is Daly. Back to Kearns. Senior from Broad Run, Virginia. And Kearns is a fun player to talk about with Coach Yeager. Obviously now in his 4th year with Lynchburg. And Coach Yeager, as soon as you mention Kearns, he just starts laughing, which is always a good sign.
Yeah.
But the reason being is I'm asking him where I can expect to see him for today's game. And he says, well, you'll see him mostly in the midfield, but he's played everywhere but goalkeeper for us, so just keep an eye on 19.
I remember him playing in the back.
He originally came here as someone on the back line. They've eventually had to move him up all the way up to a forward spot year and 2 years ago. Now he's in a position where he'll be on the wings, he'll be in the midfield, and potentially if someone goes down, he's a likely candidate to shift back.
It's always nice to have that, those kind of utility players where, it's a guy you can trust. You can put him anywhere and he'll do the job.
And Coach Yeager also noted he's not someone who's looking to play a position. He's just looking to play.
Yeah.
And that's where the period comes to the end of the sentence, which is always makes it a little easier as a coach.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what you hope out of all your guys, right? Do whatever it takes for your team.
And it's always fun. There's plenty of programs who have players who come in with one position, and by the time they're senior, they're playing something completely different, which, of course, good problem to have.
Absolutely.
Throwing on the near side coming from Daly, senior from Raleigh, North Carolina. Had 5 assists last year. And again, that speaks to the play style we've seen early on from Daly. He's in that left back spot, but he pushes the tempo and he will carry it forward. Still 0-0. 15.5 minutes left to play in the first half. Game number 1 of the year for the Lynchburg Hornets. Reigning ODAC champs. Meanwhile, Covenant, if you missed the opening of the broadcast, enter at 0-0-1. It's a 0-0 tie against Emory coming on Wednesday night. And speaking of the schedule for Covenant, this is game 2. They're playing tomorrow as well.
Wow.
At CNU, so a 3-game stretch over 4 days. Not necessarily normal.
No, and that's tough. It does replicate tournament-type schedule, so maybe they're thinking, hey, let's get this in early, figure out our legs early, and see how we are prepared if we win the conference, get in the tournament. But it's tough sledding there.
In all those games, non-conference, so you want to win every game, but non-conference is where you have a little bit more leeway. You can experiment, try new things. But, of course, I had to ask Coach Yeager. So, considering Covenant plays Wednesday night, we have a shot on net gobbled up by Gallagher. Just the second shot today for Covenant. But back to my point, ask Coach Yeager, are you going to try to force the issue early on? We did end up seeing that. Didn't get an answer, just a smile. Coach Yeager not wanting to give away too much, but I think we got that answer pretty early on, knowing that Covenant played just a couple nights ago, 110 minutes to that point, not just regulation. They tried, but give credit to the Scots. They weathered the storm, and now we're at about even a battle as you can get.
Yeah, and they, let's say they don't have a ton of reserves either. So you're hoping that you can get some momentum early so you don't have to be into that 110-minute or 20-minute deal again.
And on cue, a couple of subs, the first changes we've seen so far today. Hornets sent in number 25, Sebastian Quiro Gutierrez. And also one sub checking in for Covenant. Didn't catch the number there. I do apologize. But here we have our first corner. Kenny Robles will take and play it short. Again, you can see Lynchburg is trying to feed Luke Mega. Well defended. Thomas Drake comes away with the stop. His pass forward goes off the foot.
Yeah, and I'm sure he was looking to beat that next guy, get the shot off, but it took a little bit of a bounce and just couldn't quite get it after that, and a little bit of frustration.
And that was Noah Carrico, who was the sub for Covenant. I love when the game answers my question for me. The freshman from College Grove, Tennessee, coming on and spearheading the forward spot. Carrico swings it out wide. Seth Dale slows down the attack for a moment. Lynchburg
and you've
gets
seen
the stop.
almost like a formation change in some sense. Like initially Covenant's running 2 guys up top. They've made a couple subs, looks like a 3 front now, so it was like kind of a hybrid diamond they were initially playing, that really defensive shape, and now they're like we talked about before, putting some more numbers forward. Generated corner, got our first corner of the night.
After we got our first corner from Lynchburg, Covenant responds with their first, and it's Carrico out to the post. He will send it in the top of the box. Popped up by Gutierrez. Hit around, deflected off the body of Shalito. It'll be a throw-in with possession staying with the Scots, and play whistle dead as Mercer Stout was trying to play an advantage. Stout plays it back. Kennis, who's had his hands full defensively, trying to reverse, headed away by Dale. But you mentioned a bit of a formation change, and that's part of the beauty and something I've started to really appreciate while broadcasting, watching soccer, even just as a fan. Those mid-game adjustments. I'm also a bit of a history geek. You have strategy, you have tactics.
Yeah.
Strategy is what you're doing beforehand. Tactics is what you're doing as it's unfolding. And you're starting to see the tactician part of the game unfold.
And again, another fun part, as a coach, to be able to kind of do that. And it's causing a little bit of a numbers problem at certain areas where they're able to combine a little bit. Not sure what's being called here. Maybe a handball?
Whatever is being called, it will result in a free kick. So laying it down is Parker Owen. 4-man wall in front of him. It's Parker Rohde flanking right to Owen. Patrick Piconas joins the wall, making it 5 players wide.
There's a guy free on the backside.
Shot, ricocheted. Second chance, the left footer. Not hit overly hard. Rolls harmlessly across the sideline. Lynchburg stands the test. We're down under 9.5 minutes left in the first half. We'll have a few more substitutions. Jacob Sitton's going to check in for the first time today. And we noted Covenant, not necessarily with a deep bench today, but called on a couple subs over the last 5 minutes of game action, trying to get their starters a little bit of a breather towards the end of the first half.
They may have used all of them to this point.
Because 2 of the subs are keepers.
Yeah.
So numbers are certainly thin. And that makes the 3 games and 4-day challenge, well, that much more challenging.
Absolutely. If you're the third team playing them, you're excited.
CNU has got to be licking their chops. And CNU at home tomorrow. But like you said, that's tournament schedule. And
yep.
In the long term, it might be something that this tricky non-conference schedule plays to the benefit.
Right, and that's
for Covenant.
just like you were saying, that allows you to kind of have a little bit of flexibility in what you're doing and really just see what your team's made of early on.
No rush here from Covenant. Pass goes wayward. Ultimately, it goes all the way back to the feet of Gallagher. Shalita's been out there for every minute of the match so far. Has it for a second. Drake sends it back to Rhodey. Forward for Drake once more. Chips it ahead. Little strong. Looking for Sitton, who just checked in a few minutes ago. Gallagher, the first player to it, though. 5-2 shot advantage, still in the favor of Lynchburg. But as we mentioned a couple times now, after the first 10 minutes or so of this game, it has certainly been closer to even. Daly over to Foley. Just under 7 minutes left in the first half. The possession at this point, pinballing back and forth. Neither team really with strong possession.
Sort of stuck in the middle third here, you know. One team wins it, one team, you know,
gives it away.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. And I think another thing that's interesting about this matchup, especially for game number 1 for Lynchburg, I think the common concept would be game 1, you're going to make it an easy one. You're going to find someone you can get your feet wet with, come away with an easy win. That was not the case for Coach Chris Yeager. Wanted to find someone who, obviously, conference championship winner last year in a weird season, but still one of the best teams inside the USA South, and wanted a challenge right from the rip, and today has lived up to the billing.
Yeah, I think they've got what they were looking for.
Pass picked off by Averett. Top of the box, one more pass. Pickanos gets a foot on it. Will be ruled off sides. Hooks was there anyways.
Yeah, no, I almost thought any number of those guys could have hit one if they wanted to, you know.
A little too unselfish.
Yeah. And a lot of times shots like that, so maybe they're looking to get that ball back in the box really close, right around the 12 and the 6. However, the shots early on that are from those spots open up that run later in the game. So if they hit those shots, then all of a sudden people do have to step to you. And then all of a sudden, okay, now in behind is available.
And also seeing how someone might react is similar to that point you're just making. And that's where the first half, especially today, feels like one side feeling out the other, and vice versa. And then the second half, I think we're going to start seeing the scoreboard light up here at Schellenberger Field.
See what kind of little adjustments that are made, little tweaks to the style. You know, because sometimes you practice things and it's like, okay, that's not going to work, you know, and let's make this adjustment. Let's play this way now instead of that, seeing it against someone else that's not yourself.
Pass broken up by Foley. Shakes his head at Austin Berry, who tried to take him one-on-one. Clean tackle from Gutierrez. Shalita bounces it up. Everett battles with Carrico. Intended target Shalita. He ultimately does win it back for Lynchburg. Under 4 minutes left in the first half. Still looking for our first score. This matchup between Covenant and Lynchburg. I've heard coaches describe the last 5 of the first half, first 5 minutes of the second half as momentum minutes, which I find to be, 1, a good alliteration, and 2, easy to talk about in the sense that if you come up with a late score in the first half, next thing you know, morale's through the roof at the break. And then on the other side, if you give up a goal right before you go to the break, you're demoralized without a doubt.
Yeah, and in a way, I find myself looking at the clock, just like clockwork, no pun intended, at the 7-minute mark. Like, that's when I tend to look up and say, okay, the game's settled down or going one way or the other.
Shalita looks to center, has it broken up. Good clear for Covenant.
at each of those points. That right there is a great opportunity, and really almost converted. If he doesn't dive out like that, I think Lynchburg just taps one in.
Daly with space. The shot finds the back of the net. Not your normal left back. Joey Daly's done it all day long. Converts with today's first score.
And there you go. There's what we were just talking about. Getting one of those goals at the end of the half that can take that momentum in. And what a great run forward, getting free, and just taking that opportunity.
Here's another look at it. And Daly's been dishing off all day long, and it felt like Covenant was playing with that expectation. The crease is there. Daly from outside the box. Left-footed strike. Doesn't get any prettier than that.
And now you got to account for that, right? You're going to go in the half and say, okay, backs are coming forward. We can't just give them a free hit.
Daly did not have any goals last year and comes away with the first score on the season for Lynchburg. And now I think we can safely say momentum back in the side of the Hornets.
Which I would say they had, for most of the game. There's about a 15-minute stretch there in the middle where, which is normal, right? Where it got kind of even, or Covenant's getting a few more opportunities, but a majority of the time, Lynchburg's had the ball, been able to move it around, trying to generate those chances, which they were able to do.
And back to the point we talked about earlier, where it's just tough to be better than your opponent for a full 90.
Yeah.
I think today you could say first 10, Lynchburg was in the driver's seat. Game works to that equilibrium state you were just talking about. Maybe Covenant at one point was slightly better, getting more shots, getting more looks. But here over the last 5 minutes and with 90 seconds left in the first half, Lynchburg back where they started this one. But Covenant still with some time to respond. Loose ball, Foley tries to clear, comes up empty. Healed back. Averett sends it to Gallagher. They keep it short. Daly finds Shalita, able to work his way around a defender. Pass broken up right at midfield by Owen. Lots of contact from Gutierrez and Rohde. Deflected off a few different players. Last touched, according to our officials, by Lynchburg Hornet. So it'll be a throw-in inbound for the Scots.
That's a tough ball to play. You got a, 6'3", 6'4" guy in the middle. Long balls right down the middle. Probably going to get headed away.
Shot from Covenant sails well over the post, and I'm sure Gallagher will be in no rush to send this one deep. 10 seconds and counting left in the first half. And we will not see the goal kick. That brings a close to the first half of action. An early 1-0 lead for the Lynchburg Hornets. Goal coming from Joey Daly, creating it for himself all the way up from the back line, his 5th career goal with Lynchburg. We'll step aside, come back after a quick pause, recap what we saw in the first half between Lynchburg and the Covenant Scots here on LHSN.
Never think that your donation is in vain, because you're helping out hundreds of students that are just like me, who need a shot and who are getting one. Without donations, without you individuals that are helping to donate to the university and the Lynchburg Fund, there would be no student body president Davion Washington. There'd probably be I'm stuck at home, Davion Washington. not only is your donation building leaders, but it's building leaders like myself and others that will hopefully want to pay it forward one day and you do the same thing. I know for a fact that, when I have it, because I will, I want to give back to this university that provided me a home for 4 years.
When you come to the University of Lynchburg to earn a master's degree in athletic training, you'll spend time in the classroom, but you'll also spend a lot of time in our top-notch facilities, learning from athletic trainers and working closely with our student athletes. In the Graduate Cadaver Lab, you'll learn about the human body in the best way possible, by actually studying the human body. This will provide a foundation to make you a much better athletic trainer. In the Athletic Training Laboratory, you'll get hands-on experience, practicing your skills, applying concepts from the classroom, and working with faculty on research projects. It's also where our hydrotherapy facilities are. This space is also used by students for studying and practicing skills outside of class time. In the Sports Medicine Clinic and Turner Gymnasium, you'll work with student athletes from more than 20 NCAA Division III sports teams, helping get them back to practice and into the game as soon as possible. As an athletic training student, you're a big part of the success of our sports teams and the success of the local athletic teams. We see this relationship as a win-win situation. You learn, and that helps us win.
Welcome back to Schellenberger Field on the campus of the University of Lynchburg. TJ Winger alongside women's soccer assistant coach Matt Newton. And, Coach, we've had our money's worth. We had some fun action there in the first 45. Kind of walk us through what we saw from start to finish.
Yeah, I felt like, initially you had both teams just feeling each other out, trying to figure out, what are we going to see here. You had Covenant kind of sitting in for a while. I would say for first 20 minutes, you've got Lynchburg most of possession, going at them, generating opportunities, and then eventually their Covenant started letting players go forward, and then they started to get a few opportunities. And after that, getting that goal at the last couple minutes left, it's huge for Lynchburg.
And let me ask you, so we saw Covenant play a lot of players in the box to open up. As a coach, are you doing that because you're playing a team first game of the year on their home turf? Is that something that plays in your mind, saying, hey, we got to weather the storm in the first 15 to 20 minutes?
Yeah, I think you're looking at a team that can have a potent attack, so you're trying to absorb that and then maybe get those opportunities long or quick, or you've seen something in transition that you might want to try to take advantage of. But however, that may change now that you're down a goal.
Right, now you got to play catch-up.
Yeah.
And I think something else that stood out is the first half we had some physical play. Nothing that was egregious or anything that got out of hand, but that's going to escalate in the second half, and things are going to get a little bit more chippy.
Yes.
Hopefully all stays under control, but with that in the mix, it's set to be a really fun second half.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we saw one foul. We're not even sure, was it just a handball, right?
Sure.
And he let them play, right? So hopefully you see that. Yeah, all you ask for from that is consistency. So if we let them play in the first half, it's what you're expecting for the second half, and you just got to be physical and go for it.
We're going to step aside, come back in a few moments, recap the first half with some stats, some figures from the first set of 45, so don't go anywhere. You're watching Lynchburg and Covenant on LHSN.
I was looking for a school that could provide me with the athletics, academics to pursue my career, a wind symphony to pursue my passion for music, and really have a nice general atmosphere. The professors here are really unique, their background and their passion for teaching. It's really a place where you can explore. Lynchburg gives you the opportunity to fail, but also get back up in that period of time and learn from your mistakes. I can make these mistakes within the school environment, but also with the support of other friends, and be ready for the real world when you graduate.
Living the dream. USA, Mexico. That was so exciting.
Lynchburg really stood out for me just because of the way it treated its students. They really do make an effort here, and I've learned that over my 4 years is that they actually do try to listen to what the student body wants, and they try to act on that. They don't really just give you a piece of paper here to then go off and do your own thing. They actually prepare you to work with different populations, which is what the world is all about. It's just working with people that are different than you. They genuinely care that everyone has the ability to go off into the world and make a difference with whatever they like. For me, that's just being basically in a room with someone helping them achieve their first goal of, I don't know, doing a pull-up. I actually do believe they want you to do the best you can to change someone's life for the better. You can be anyone here, which I think is really cool. But regardless of who you are here, they will make sure you don't fall through the cracks, which is awesome. I have realized that I've never felt lost here. I will not regret ever coming here, that's for sure. So I'm very glad that I came here. Yeah, it's actually pretty awesome.
Welcome back to Lynchburg, Virginia. Matchup between the Hornets of the University of Lynchburg and the Covenant College Scots. TJ Winger alongside women's soccer assistant coach Matt Newton. We're going to show you some of the stats from the first half. Overall, fairly evenly battled matchup so far. I think both sides executed their game plan, especially for about 43 minutes or so. And then there's the one play that obviously is the difference on the scoreboard, with Joey Daly carrying it all the way forward from the back line, striking it home from, 22 to 24 out. Absolute missile, high 90, something you practice in the backyard. But overall, I think the stats reflect this has been a very fun and evenly matched game.
Yeah, and you're looking at, same corners. You're looking at pretty close to the same saves. So you're like the same type of opportunities on goal right now. I think you could give Lynchburg the possession percentage arrow in their direction. But overall, it's been a good match.
And I'm almost surprised only 2 corners there in the first half. And when the teams did have possession and they went on their runs, they were relatively sustained, especially Lynchburg in the first 10 and then overall in the last 5 or 10 in the first half. But both sides playing clean, able to prevent balls going across the end line. Everything they've done, been fundamentally sound and limited those corners.
Yeah, and so it'll be fun to see, okay, what were the little tweaks? What are the adjustments now as we go into this half? I think you're going to see Covenant. They can't sit in now, right? They're down, so you got to go for it. So we'll see how Lynchburg absorbs that.
All things we're all looking forward to seeing in the second half. We're going to step aside one more time, then come back with the second half of action between Lynchburg and Covenant. Don't go anywhere. You're watching LHSN.
Sweet. Is that fine? Yeah.
Today's a rough day. Jess and I are officially on a break. The couple canoe has broken up.
It's not.
How you feeling? Living the dream.
Just canoeing. That's the Mexican side behind me. The U.S. is that way.
So far, we're all still alive.
I really want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Woo! We did it! Kind of.
Welcome back to Schellenberger Field. Seconds away from the second set of 45 between the Covenant Scots and the Lynchburg Hornets. Lynchburg out in front 1-0. TJ Wingard alongside Matt Newton for what's going to almost certainly be a really fun second half between these two teams. Let me ask you, Coach, for both sides, what are some of the adjustments you would be making going into the second set of 45?
Yeah, again, I'm going to start sending numbers forward. If I'm Covenant, I'm gonna maybe weather the first 5-7 minutes and then go into that type of tactics. And then if I'm Lynchburg, I'm trying to keep the ball doing what I've been doing before, because they generated opportunities. It was just converting them.
6 shots to 2 for Lynchburg in that first half. I think they did a good job. Even the points where they weren't the team that was in the driver's seat with possession, did a good job. Covenant had a couple of good looks, good chances, but not nearly the same quantity, it felt like, as Lynchburg was creating.
Right. I agree.
So players take the field. And you can also see, as this game's gone on, the crowd has gotten larger and larger. And again, Westover Hall, and not even on the dorm, on the track. That's an even better seat.
Yeah, and you'll see that a ton. Even like we were talking about night games, that whole track will be full. You know, right now they're just in the shade, staying out of the sun. Don't blame them. However, I'm still, you know, coveting that upper balcony over there.
One of these days we'll have to set up our broadcast over there.
Just sit in one of those Adirondack chairs and just
they are comfortable.
Call the game.
I'm here for it. Second half underway. Deflected. Henry Hooks chases it. Lagana with it. Just wide. Would have been an own goal off the body of Griffin Felton. But nonetheless, Brendan Lagana off the rip in the second half, creating a prime scoring chance, and it's going to be a corner on the way for the Hornets.
Yeah, just a great effort play, putting pressure on and forcing a mistake. And in the 30 seconds, you got a corner.
And taking the corner here in the second half is Joey Daly, whose goal in the first half is 5th in his Lynchburg career. Senior. Heads out to the corner is Kenny Robles with that honor in the first set of 45. Just in front of the net, headed up and out of play.
Almost getting a goal and an assist on the day.
And was looking for Nick Foley, center back, almost that backline duo. Plenty of chemistry between the two. Foley came diving in, but the header a little strong and wide.
Yeah, and you typically send your backs forward for something like that because they can head, as you can see.
Also helps Foley 6'2". That's a good frame and an easy one to find at that.
Absolutely.
Lindsay Shalita played the entire first half, as did Seth Dale. Now rolled all the way back. Here's Kyle Gallagher. Only a couple saves in the first half. Overall, was able to avoid too much work. Pass goes long. Lots of contact between Mega and Kennis, and the late whistle is eventually blown. Be a deep free kick on the way for Lynchburg.
Yeah, and pretty clear. You know, he didn't get the opportunity to make a play on the ball, and he's playing the player, and easy call.
So it'll be Daly to take. Lofting it towards the 6. Right into the hands of Henry Hooks.
Great ball.
You can see Daly just has that touch. So, one, he has a missile for a leg and can score from outside the box, but then really nice finesse on passes like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a great asset to have at that spot.
And you can see why he had a team-high 5 assists last year, tied for team best. Him and Kenny Robles, who play very different brands of soccer.
Yeah.
But you'll take the stats however you get them. The Lynchburg team that came away with 32 goals last year, allowed 22. On the other side, Covenant found the back of the net 26 occasions, only gave up 13 scores in the spring of 2021.
Yeah, and if you're Lynchburg, you can just do this all day, right? You have the lead, so if they want to just low press, we'll just hang on to the ball.
Well, especially with how good the passing's been. I think that's maybe something I've overlooked so far into this contest, whether it's been Griffin Phillips, it's been Daly, it's been Foley, Dale. They've all done a great job maintaining possession across that back line. So when it comes to playing keep away, that's a very valuable asset. It's Kenny Robles, a valuable asset in his own right. Left footer, count it!
What a great effort by Kenny, beating his man 1v1, taking it across the box, and just threading it into the back net.
Kenny Robles does what Kenny Robles does. Penetrates past a trio of Covenant defenders, gets inside the box. And there's not much that Henry Hooks could have done against that shot. Robles had no goals last year and had 5 assists. Similar stat line. Feel like we talked about the same thing with Joey Daly, who scored our first goal today. So these two players finding their first goal on the year very early on. And Robles, despite not having a goal last year, he's someone you can count on being in the mix a lot on the offensive end. 4th career goal for Robles. And he moves Lynchburg up 2-0.
And TJ, there's your important 5 minutes, right, that we talked about. And right off the bat, those first 5 minutes, pure dominance.
Yeah, the termed momentum minutes, that's where Lynchburg has been at their best, not only creating chances but converting. And they've done so with one-man show as Daly finds the seam, converts on a great look, and Robles doing the same just a minute ago.
Yeah, and it's for you don't let down. I mean, these next 4 minutes are super important. It's when you're most vulnerable to be scored on, either way. So if you've got to hang on, if you're Covenant and if Lynchburg, make sure that you're being smart. You don't try to play outside of your means.
And for Covenant, you're down to 40 minutes, trying to at least tie this game up, work its way to extra time if you can't come away with 3 scores. What's your mindset now? Because the clock's on you now. It was one thing when you were down by a score, whole second half to play, but now down by a couple scores, and the clock is ticking against you.
Yeah, and now you got to take some chances, and so you're playing a little bit of this low to medium block where you're kind of letting them come, and now you got to force some errors, see what you can put away.
Deep strike, missing wide, coming off the left foot of Griffin Felton, senior from Birmingham, Alabama. Griffin Phillips, senior from Richmond, Virginia. The pass towards Kearns, who has it intercepted. In the midfield, it's Aaron Riggs over to Thomas Drake. And coming away with a turnover and a head of steam in the other direction, Shalita, picked up by Parker Rohde, who's been fantastic defensively all day long. Whistle blown. It'll go against Lynchburg. Scots take over.
Yeah, he's got some speed. That was a fantastic recovery run. And then just to draw the foul, get right back into possession.
Freshman from Nashville, Tennessee. He was in the starting 11, and the way he's played today, I think you can count on the freshman staying in that role.
Yes, absolutely.
Reversing the side of the field, Phillips. Plenty of space in front of him. Has Robles penetrating towards the middle. Lays it off for Kearns. Everett finds Shalita. Out wide to Mega, who is the fixture of this offense early on. To the center of the box. Headed home. Lynchburg now up 3-0.
Yeah, and just taking that momentum and just running with it right now. Able to get in behind, get a cross off, and you got everybody running towards goal, which is dangerous as a team.
And you can see the attention. Mega grabs and a pinpoint pass and a nice finish. Hornets up by 3.
Yeah, and that was just a great job of splitting those backs, and then Luke seeing that play come through. Easy goal.
And it's been a tough couple of minutes for Henry Hooks, you see on your screen there for a moment. Not a whole lot he could have done on either of the goals he's allowed. Whether to Robles or the one that just came a moment ago. I think that speaks to the potency of this Lynchburg attack.
Yeah, and TJ, it gets tough now, right? You're second half, you're down 3. You've played a game, already, and
Clear here from Dale. That goal, by the way, coming from Brennan Lagana. Didn't have a great view from up here on the number, but Lagana awarded his first goal on the season. And overall, it becomes his 5th score as a Hornet. Sophomore from North Carolina, chipping in with the efforts from Daly and Robles.
Slowly coming up, taking that time off.
Yeah, up by 3. Don't figure to see Lynchburg in too much of a rush. Here now on the other side of the coin, though, Covenant gonna have to make some big things happen and do so very quickly. And then the encouraging sign, I think, for the Scots, regardless of whether the score holds or not, you're in action tomorrow. So let's say final score 3-0, it stays where it is now. You're playing in 24 hours' time, looking for some revenge against CNU.
Yeah, and that, there's not a lot of time to regroup. There's not a lot of time to recover. There's not a lot of time to mentally recover from that.
Sure.
And so it's going to be interesting.
Fortunate part about it, CNU about 3 hours away or so. So figured to have Covenant stay in the Commonwealth of Virginia overnight and get back out on the pitch tomorrow. Meanwhile, for Lynchburg, they're in action this upcoming Sunday versus Greensboro, playing that game at CNU. So funny enough, both these teams' next stops out towards Newport News.
Yeah, I think Lynchburg, what do they have, 4 away now? 4 straight aways?
They'll actually be here next Friday
That's
in
right.
a non-conference game against CNU. So get used to hearing Christopher Newport.
Yeah.
Long story short, you're going to hear a lot about the university and that team overall. CNU will come here next Friday, but overall, yeah, lots of road matches. Same can be said about the women's soccer team. Starting the year, plenty of games away from the home confines.
Yeah, heading to Roanoke, then we'll go up to New York, then we go to Philly. So it'll be fun, though. Yeah, it'll be fun. I love doing stuff like that. It's good team bonding.
Stout at the top of the box, has it for a moment. Shalita, who's been everywhere in the midfield. The give and go, Shalita 4, looking for Lagan, a chance to get number 2, gets past Hooks, the shot, easy. Lynchburg moves ahead, 4-0, second goal of the day for Lagana. And the Hornets are buzzing now.
Yeah, and it was a fantastic counter play where they were just able to collect the ball, get forward, make forward combinations, and then all of a sudden you have the ball in the middle of the field with multiple options. He had multiple options to pass to for that. Makes a dangerous pass and just a clinical finish.
The assist goes to Shalita, his first on the year. So 2 scores out of the 3 here in the second half for Lynchburg, 2 coming from the sophomore Lagana. Now team leader in goals. Well played by Rhodey. He's been a standout today for Covenant. Passes it towards the box. Nobody's home. Possession right back into the hands or to the feet of the Hornets. First broadcast of the year for LHSN. Thank you all for tuning in. TJ Winger alongside Matt Newton, and gotten our money's worth for any Hornets fans watching. This has certainly been a great viewing experience. And for Covenant fans, back in action tomorrow, and hopefully been able to enjoy the LHSN Broadcast Network.
Yeah, I just think you really see what that end of the first half goal does. It just really opened things up. And
also talking about Covenant, you're starting to see subs come in and out a lot more frequently now. And you almost wonder, again, short bench, we talked about that in the first set of 45. That starts to feel like it's taking a toll now.
Absolutely, it's a factor. And, even if you go into the second half and it's 0-0, you're looking at it on a Lynchburg side, hey, let's just keep moving the ball around because they can't keep up that long.
And, I mean, I think you look at the last 2 goals from Lagana. Mega had a free run and just beat his defender. Pinpoint pass, too. Ton of credit there to Mega on the assist. And then Shalita, forward, Lagana, goes one-on-one against Hooks. Tough for a keeper to come away with the stop there.
Yeah.
And, again, it feels like the Scots are running out of gas, I should say. Brody in the right back spot. Pass forward. Nicked off a few different feet. Stout with some space. Deflected away. Joey Daly, team save. Dale to Robles. Robles sends it deep, looking for Mega with an assist today. Marked up by Kennis. Pass goes far and wide. Here's Lagana. 2 goals today. Working one-on-one against Rhodey. Plenty of contact, and the whistle is blown. It'll go against Lynchburg. Covenant will have Hooks start up the possession.
You know, and it's not a bad foul, really. I mean, he didn't have a ton of options. He had maybe 1 in the box, or still had guys still coming in on the counter. And so, you know, if you get a foul in that corner there, it's hard to play out, and Lynchburg's already won possession back.
Just showed you that second goal from Lagana once again. I think that's, again, speaking to the confidence everybody on this team has. A lot of these goals have, 3 of the 4 really, you could say, have come one-on-one, ball at their feet. They're dribbling, making it happen on their own. And they've been able to convert. It was Daly first. Then, to start the second half, the goal scored by Robles. Did it all on his own. Mega with a strong run, gets the assist, the first goal for Lagana, and then that second time for Lagana finding the back of the net, largely doing it, ball at his feet and doing it on his own.
Really getting to see some skill on display.
Quiroz Gutierrez had it for a second. Pass broken up by Mercer Stout, and he was our Covenant player to watch, to continue to sing the praises of the Lynchburg Hornets team overall. They've done a good job limiting the amount of times we've been able to say Stout's name. And he's been aggressive, he's been pressing forward, but has been able to create turnovers, and the chances he has gotten on the offensive side, been few and far between.
Yeah, and, you know, he had maybe that 1 shot, I think, in the first half, which was dangerous. But overall, they've just been able to account for him since then.
And on a similar note, Jake Major had 3 goals, 3 assists last year. We've seen him at the top of the forward line, striking position, and called his name a couple times at the start of the broadcast, but since then, not a whole lot since. So not only the offense clicking early on, but the defense shining as well for Lynchburg. Just under 30 minutes left till the conclusion. Now you see 4 players across that back line for Covenant. Now something else that feels like it's stand out when it's been three players on the backside. Lynchburg's done a really good job finding the seams, being able to exploit it. And now maybe we'll see Covenant, despite needing to score, also need to prevent more against you. And we start bringing an extra body back.
Yeah, and you got 30 minutes left, and it's 4. Yeah, you're hoping it didn't get out of hand.
And at this point of the game, moral victories don't pay bills by any stretch of the imagination, but you are looking for some positives over the next 30 minutes of game time that you can carry over into tomorrow.
Absolutely. And you can't run yourself to death if you're playing tomorrow.
And another advantage of non-conference play, try out some new formations, get players on different lines, see how they work with one another. Stout tries to play it forward. Pass does make it through to Barry. Slowed down. Carter Averett there to defend, has it deflected off of his right leg. Be a corner chance coming for Covenant. Coming out to the near side post appears to be Thomas Drake. And can now confirm it is Drake.
See if 22 runs in, yep. He was hanging around there. It was weird that he was there.
Now he'll send it towards the box. No one there to answer the door other than Kyle Gallagher. Only 2 saves today for reigning first-team All-ODAC keeper and one of the 5th-year players for Lynchburg. I think this is a game, and it's a really fun opportunity for Coach Chris Yeager to get some of his young guys some playing time throughout the rest of this contest, because we talked about how big the roster is. Feels like everybody on it deserves to be a college soccer player, but with the amount of 5th years coming back, a strong freshman group, it's tough to have playing time for everyone to go around, but fortunate enough, you've been dominant the first 63 minutes of game time now. Now it's a chance to potentially see those young guys and the bench group see the field.
Yeah, and it's great because, you know, again, you can only play yourself so much.
Sure.
And so it's nice to be able to see people against other opportunities. Competition is what I should say.
Michael Rendon checks in, as well as Liam Lavelle. Rendon the senior, Lavelle the junior. Last touch by Covenant. Another throw-in inbound for Lynchburg. Pigonis with one touch, trying to send it out wide. That's a fun story in itself. Patrick Pigonis, brother of Ryan Pigonis, one of the assistant coaches for Lynchburg. Coach Ryan in his 2nd year with that position. And his brother Patrick in his senior year. Having those two stay close to home. Hailing from Midlothian, Virginia, about 2 hours away.
Yeah. They had another brother play at Roanoke, so they'd play against them sometimes. Or,
an ODAC family.
Yeah.
Deep ball. Corralled by Hooks. Stout's pass picked off. Kearns, 3rd-team All-ODAC last year.
And again, 25 minutes left. Still a lot of time. Looks like you're just trying to keep it from getting messy.
And again, to sing the praises of Lynchburg, the passing has been beyond crisp today.
Yeah, great
There have not
touch.
been a whole lot of wayward balls. You just don't know what they're doing. Gutierrez created some space. Hooks comes out, ends the run there. But a fruitful run. And it's impressive to say that for Lynchburg. This is game 1.
Yeah.
I mean, those practice sessions must be hit on all cylinders.
Well, it's just what you want to see, right? You want to come out like this. You're playing a good opponent, and then just to put 4 in the back of the net with a lot of time left. It's pretty exciting.
And doing it against a team in Covenant that won the USA South last year, picked to finish 2nd in the West Division. This is no slouch that Lynchburg's doing this against. And sure, it might not be the finest game that the Scots have played early on, but there's plenty of time for them to turn the ship around. And this is also one of those experiences where I'm confident in Coach Scott Bosgraf. He's done a great job, 5th-year head coach with Covenant. And they'll start picking things up, get things back in their favor, get back to their winning ways, and you could look back to this game as that was the wake-up call we needed early on.
Yeah, and you want to see now at this point, how does your team respond? And you're now, look, the game is what it is now. Now it's, how are you going to respond to this? Are you going to let this continue? Are you going to let this happen again? What are you going to do so that you start winning games or not allowing games to get to this point?
They played Emory 0-0 through 110 minutes. Emory expected to be a pretty solid team this year as well. Mercer Stout right at midfield. Back and forth between Stout and Barry. Head fake. Felton trying to find Laughlin. Deflected away by a Hornet defender. And we talked about it earlier, trying to battle against COVID, and Coach Yeager saying we just want to play. We just want to do whatever we can to be out on the field. And this has got to be such a rewarding feeling, right? Moving practice times around, having to figure out when you're going to take trips, and battling the weather and battling COVID, whatever the case may be. Go out there, see your team put it together right away. That's a sweet feeling.
Yeah, and you're certainly confused when you have, or not confused, but concerned when you
Sure.
have to have all those moving parts with the weather and all that kind of things, and maybe you don't get quite the practice. Maybe you have to do a film study instead of being on the ball, and so you're just not sure.
Sent out of the box by Foley. Now across the end line, another corner on the way for Covenant.
Stop there because I wasn't sure if that was going to get converted into something, but you're just not totally sure. You think you're
Sure.
not totally sure until you face somebody what you might have.
Third corner for Covenant. Again, they play it short. Headed away by Seth Dale. Ball's popped up outside the 18. All right, rolls towards midfield. Here's Gutierrez, 3-on-2. Lynchburg back the other way. Moving out right. Lavelle looking for space, has it broken up. Weekly with a nice defensive play. Comes away with a stop for the Scots.
Yeah, and if you're Covenant, that's all you could ask for there. I mean, you had a 3v2 and coming right at you. It's tough to defend.
Justin Ennis takes over between the posts for Lynchburg. Ending the day for Kyle Gallagher, who, fifth-year player, didn't see a whole lot coming his way. Had a few early tests in the early to mid portions of the first half. A few other subs include Carl Makinich, as well as Josh Auger, sophomore from Greensboro, North Carolina. Both teams getting a chance to send new players out onto the pitch. Again, the advantage of non-conference play, trying to see how one plays with another. Just over 20 minutes left to be played. At midfield, it's Riggs, forced to send it back. Back at the feet of Riggs. Finds Barry, reversing to Stout. Sets it down with the right foot. Flanking to his left is Laughlin. Shot finds home. Mercer Stout, such a talented player, breaks through, gives Covenant their first score on the year.
Yeah, and just going 1v1 there, able to get through, had a little bit of a weird bounce, handled it well, and just outside of the foot places it.
Weaving his way through the defense and working against the backup keeper and senior Justin Ennis. Shot from that close. No easy task for Ennis to come away with a stop. Mercer had 5 scores a year ago. Game number 1, Nets number 1.
Yeah, and the Lynchburg staff was calling for something. I was distracted by that a little bit to see what are they seeing right there they thought should have been called before the goal happened.
So despite being up 4-0, coaches always want to call.
Yeah.
Coaches, always so greedy.
Yeah. Come on,
Now a 4-1 game.
refs. Just, get it together.
They're practicing their haggling, so that way midseason form you might be able to persuade, get an argument, get a call.
Exactly, even though that never happens. And I'm guilty of this. I'm number 1 on this list of haggling or or heckling might be a better.
Heckling, yeah. One of the best parts about being a coach, I'm sure.
Yeah. Got to go after somebody, right?
Right. Less than 19 minutes left. 4-1 your score. Picadas has it at his feet. Draws some contact. Gutierrez in the mix as well. Covenant. Back line stands tall. Swings to the near side. Griffin Felton been active, especially here in the second half. Looking forward for Barry. Headed up and lands at the feet of Phillips. So now it's Phillips and Auger taking up the left back and center back positions. Phillips, a senior from Richmond, Virginia, someone they're going to have to count on a lot this year, especially considering Nick Folling starting today, but someone who's coming back for his 5th year, and Coach Yeager mentioning he's in class and will miss games sometimes because his class runs from 8 in the morning to 5 at night.
I don't know if I could do that.
I certainly could do it.
That's a job.
Yeah, essentially. So the grad program that Foley's in has put him in a position where upon graduating this upcoming year, immediately be able to step in, get a job, and find success just as much as he has out on the pitch. But because of that, Phillips becomes no ordinary player on the roster. And he starts today, and you can almost certainly count on him starting in those situations. And Foley was second team all ODAC a year ago.
Well, it's good, he's able to get some time today, to get more experience and get kind of some gelling with some guys, especially back line. You want them to be kind of just a cohesive unit together because of those communication and those kind of nonverbal communications at times. You just know how to play off each other.
Well, that's another interesting mix with so many players coming back for the 5th year. There's not many players who didn't return from last year's team. So you, in a lot of ways, are playing with the same core, the same group, and that chemistry is already there. But at the same point, the same could be said for a team like Covenant, who has nearly the same roster as they did last year.
Right.
Which, again, despite a frustrating 4-1 score today for the Scots, I think there's still plenty to keep the head held high on, including it's not a full reset. You're not starting 5 freshmen looking to begin anew.
Well, and it's, you had your best player make a play to get a goal, right? And so now you can say, all right, how do we put him into more positions to do that? So what happened here that allowed him to create this opportunity and get a goal? And, it's just an adjustment you can make as the season goes along.
Picadas has it off the right foot, picked up by Hooks. And it's also interesting, and again, just like moral victories don't pay bills, what ifs don't either. But say Daly's marked up and he doesn't get that shot, scores the goal at the end of the first half. You feel like the momentum carries this game in a completely different complexion because of that score. If that doesn't happen, I think you're looking at a completely different game right now.
Yeah, you might still be 0-0 at this point in the game.
Or maybe Mercer Stout makes it 1-1 or something along those lines.
But, Lynchburg going into the half, they like we talked about, they had that momentum, and you saw what happened in those first 5 minutes, right? It was just sheer energy, and they converted at least 1 goal, right, and maybe 2.
And Picadas worked his way past a trio of defenders. Hooks comes sliding in. Picadas has been beyond active over the last 3 to 5 minutes of game time. He's looking to net his first goal in the year.
Yeah, he wants one. You can tell.
But going back to your point, to start the second half, it was nonstop.
Yeah, relentless.
Relentless. I think it's the best way to describe it, the attack from Lynchburg. A lot of it's one-on-one, free run opportunities. And I got to know what Coach Yeager is saying to his guys at halftime.
Yeah.
These guys found a different gear and poured on 3 within the first 10 minutes of the second half.
Well, it's like you've got them on the ropes, so you got to keep punching, keep punching, keep punching. Don't let up, and make these first few minutes really, really tough. And typically as a team, you're just hoping to absorb that, right? Weather the storm, once you weather that time period, things equal out. But they weren't able to weather it. There was too much, and they got overcome.
And looking at the Lynchburg attack, especially the first 55 minutes or so of today's game, it was a great blend of quantity and quality. It's not like they had just 3 really prime opportunities and you wish one found the back of the net. Overall, It's 12 shots as of now.
Yeah.
They haven't been overly active in the shot column over the past 10 minutes or so. But in the first half and then the opening of the second half, they were getting plenty of looks, and they were all really, really good chances.
Most of them just right in the middle of the field. You can't ask for anything better than that.
I mean, that's where the game's won.
Yeah.
Lots of contact. Foul will be called.
Getting close to card territory there, I'd say. And now, you just take your time, take a little bit of time setting the ball. If the ball was off the field, you're walking for the furthest ball. You wave the ball boy off.
It was Carl Makinich hitting the turf. Biguanas will take the free kick. The 4-man wall in front of him.
I'd be able to put this on frame.
He's been hungry.
Yeah.
We were just talking about.
Might as well. Hope you guys are ready for the rebound if he does.
Ball now live. Just over 12 minutes left. Shot straight to Hooks. The senior and reigning first-team All-USA Southwest Conference member comes away with perhaps one of his easiest saves on the evening. And a handful of subs coming onto the field for both sides. So valuable playing time for both sides. As it stands right now, the score were to hold. Huge statement win for Lynchburg. And you have to think that carries well into Sunday's game against Greensboro. That game, again, will be played at CNU, so about 3 hours away. Popped up towards the net. Hooks shows off the vertical. Not bad for 6'1".
Yeah, and we just did a flip throw, from I don't know how far that was, and that went all the way to the goal. I wasn't expecting to go that far. What a weapon that is.
Game number 1, we're seeing it all.
Yeah. We're getting, like you said, we're getting our money's worth tonight.
Felton looking forward, trying to find Major. Pass deflected immediately from Anderson Ivy. Hooks to clear. Claremont trying to chase it down for the Hornets, unable to do so.
Again, you're just looking to shave some time off now.
10 minutes in counting till the conclusion. Thank you all again for tuning in. First broadcast of the year on LHSN. And here's another look at that incredible throw-in all the way towards the net. Not something you see every day.
Yeah, and this is the first time I've been in the new booth up here. I don't know.
We have
have
a
you
new
been up here
broadcast set up. Oh, yeah, I basically live here at this point. And it's been fun.
So
Especially
nice.
on days like today, you pop the windows open, mid-80s. It's not going to hurt you when you're wearing a suit.
No.
I mean,
we're both in long sleeves, just comfortable.
And it helps looking over Schellenberger Field.
Yeah.
I remember when I first saw the campus and this setup, and I was just taken back. I mean, this is a fantastic complex here. Plus, there's a ton of history and tradition out on this field as well. The new scoreboard came in last spring.
Yeah.
That's a great addition. Winning culture around it. I mean, it's having your cake and eating it too.
It is, and it's, I think it's one of the best venues in the game, honestly, and in the ODAC.
And then you add the fan element over in Westover Hall and fans on the track. Not to mention the red seats right below us. No shortage of action. And then you go over to Turner Gym. New stands being put in.
Yeah.
It's exciting. We'll have our first volleyball broadcast this upcoming Wednesday.
Okay.
Volleyball team taking on Southern Virginia. Hope to have you all tune in for that one. Be myself and Aaron Farina on the call.
Not an area I can help you with there. I won't be on those
like you
type
said
of
earlier,
calls.
you're more of a
feet guy,
yeah. As opposed to the sets,
Yeah.
the hit, the kills, the digs.
I don't even know what you just said, so.
The advantage there, Aaron, former volleyball player
Yeah.
at Lynchburg, so she knows what she's talking about, thankfully. She helped make an idiot look like me look a little bit better. Ennis clears it out. It's also exciting to see someone like Justin Ennis checking this game. Senior, Gainesville, Virginia. Appeared at 4 games a year ago. 66.7% save percentage. Took part in 2 shutouts. Today did allow the goal to Mercer Stout. Always fun to have, especially someone in his senior year, get a chance to get him out there. Be a free kick on the way for Covenant. Felton with the honors.
Yeah, potential dangerous opportunity here. Looks like still got some height on the field.
A practice chance here in a lot of ways. Look how a set piece develops. Pass goes through, nobody's home. Ennis chucks it away.
Yeah, great decision just to throw it out on the counter. It is 2v4. We got guys coming. Get it wide. Yep.
The run starter was Cesar Augusta. Deep pass forward, looking in the direction of Claremont. The freshman offside, though. Clock continues to roll. Less than 6.5 left to be played. 13-7 shot advantage for Lynchburg. And a spot now where this game all but over. Lynchburg will open the year 1-0. Meanwhile, Covenant will fall to 0-1-1. Looking to bounce back and even out that record tomorrow at CNU. Lynchburg will have tomorrow off. Then travel to CNU to take on Greensboro at the neutral site. And then they're back in action here at Schellenberger Field next Friday, a week from today. Same time, 4 p.m. first touch. Hope to have you back with us. That game coming against CNU Sailors. And then they play the next day on the road at Washington and Lee. So no easy non-conference schedule, not by any stretch of the imagination.
Not at all.
Plenty of tests on the horizon for Lynchburg. Same could be said for Covenant. Mentioned the game tomorrow against CNU in Swanee on Tuesday the 7th, then at Center on Friday the 10th, a week from today. So this weekend concludes playing 3 games in 4 days. Then they're right back in action on Tuesday and then next Friday. Certainly getting a lot of playing time early on in the year. Less than 5 minutes left to be played.
See how this goes. Last 5.
Momentum minutes here.
Yeah.
Ennis sends it out towards midfield. Coach, something I did want to ask you about. 11:30 a.m. first touch.
Yeah.
Not one you see all that often.
No.
And today we're treated a 4 p.m. start.
Yeah. It's going to be,
What an odd fall.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I know for when we're going out to Roanoke, they have other games, like another game after. So maybe they just wanted to give some time, or maybe it's cooler. I don't know exactly the time.
And part of the reason today is at 4 is to allow Covenant to have some time to travel out towards CNU for tomorrow's
that makes
game.
Sense.
So that
sense.
makes sense, but kind of goes back to the point we talked about earlier. We get to play?
Yep.
And the bus will take us there? Okay. Just let us know when we need to leave.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be an exciting matchup. You'll be able to check it out. That game will also be broadcasted, not here on LHSN, but if you go to lynchburgsports.com, the video link will be ready to go. Check out the season opener for women's soccer. Have a few names we should all keep our eyes on.
Coming up, so I think it's gonna be fun to see. I think we'll have some freshmen out there, so it's gonna be fun to see those guys get their start and time on the field. And we're looking for the same, just gritty, hard-nosed, move the ball quick Lynchburg to make a showing.
Well, here's a better question for you. Working with Dr. Todd Olson, not just coach.
Yeah.
But Dr. Todd Olson, the man with 4 degrees. How do you keep up with a brainiac like that?
Well, it's a lot of fun. it's sometimes mad scientist things happen, and we have a really good time in the office. And we just look to have fun a lot, and it's great.
I think early on, fun's a good way to describe that coaching staff. Matt Deacon, Coach Olson, yourself today, the first day I get to meet you.
Yep.
That's fantastic. Coming after working all day.
I know. I was hauling it here for this 4 o'clock. Sometimes we play at 3 too. The women's team, we do the same thing where we just try to get, if we're going away, and it's a little bit of a drive, we'll just ask teams, hey, can we, play a little bit earlier so we can get back at a reasonable time? Because, at the end of the day, they're still student athletes.
Right.
So we're hoping they get rest and still win games and make good grades.
Teacher by day, star color commentator by night.
Yeah.
The resume's getting full for
I don't
you.
know about star. I don't have quite the experience you guys have, but I enjoy coming on and just talking a little soccer.
Well, we've enjoyed having you. I appreciate you doing it. Your insight's been fantastic. And it sure beats 90 minutes of me yammering on. Nobody wants to hear me.
Yeah, save you some. You got a lot of games coming up, so it'll save you a little bit of voice.
Not quite as bad as last spring.
Yeah.
It is amazing. All that
all
went
in
on
one,
last
all in one
all that went on last year.
Season.
Not just Lynchburg, but plenty of colleges across the Commonwealth of Virginia, across the country for that matter. It really was amazing to see. It was possible.
Yeah.
It may not have been not have been ideal, but you could do it.
You could do it. It certainly got interesting, but we made it work.
But now our viewers get the chance to enjoy the soccer,
Yes.
field hockey in the fall,
Absolutely.
swimming, basketball in the winter, and then
If you want to come to a game, you can use some grilling across the way, which is happening right now.
there's just no shortage of things you
Yeah.
could do over there.
In our nice community grills, it looks like gas, super nice stainless steel. Come to Lynchburg. Have your own tailgate right in front of the field.
And a day I'm super excited for, homecoming this year, October 16th. Everybody's been hyping it up. The tailgates are everywhere.
Yep.
Field hockey, women's soccer, men's soccer, back to back to back.
Flags are flying.
Yeah, I'm ready to see it. Played back to Claremont. And Lynchburg have possession and the whistle blown. Final seconds will tick off the clock. And the Lynchburg Hornets officially start the season 1-0 with a 4-1 win over the Covenant Scots, who fall to 0-1-1. A battle between reigning conference champions and preseason picks to finish second in each respective conference. Very entertaining from start to finish, but between the last 5 minutes of the first half and the first 10 of the second half, there was no doubt about it. Lynchburg, the superior team today.
Absolutely, and it was just great to see that showing. First home game, first real game. A lot of fun.
And meanwhile for Covenant, in action tomorrow at CNU. get to put this one right behind you. He still had some flashes, some good play from Parker Rohde, I think was great on the back line. Mercer Stout find the back of the net.
Absolutely.
Get to pick up where he left off last year.
Yeah, and you're just hoping that you got to move past this now. You're on to the next game. You get in the bus, you move on, and you game plan for that next team.
Well, that will do it for us at Schellenberger Field. Once again, final score, Lynchburg comes away with a win, 4-1 over Covenant College. I want to give a shout-out to our director, Sam Rice, and the rest of our fantastic LHSN broadcast crew. For my broadcast partner, Coach Matt Newton, my name's TJ Wingert. And until next time, we are signing off.